Alright guys, it's Justin again. Welcome to episode 9 of my start to finish series. This is the kind of once you've finished painting and you're getting into detailing part of the process. Basically after you've painted your model, you want to start adding things that can add and bring out detail on your kits. Sometimes it's as simple as putting decals on. Sometimes it's a little more than that. But I think anytime you're going to take the time to paint your kit, you should take the proper time and the proper care when applying panel lines. Now what panel lines are the recessed details along the edge of the kit. And they go all the way around most kits. Some kits have more, some kits have less. And you want to try and panel line everything. Now I know that might seem a little bit daunting depending on the kit that you chose to paint. But trust me, you will thank me later. Now, I've got a couple of examples here and a couple of different tools that I'm going to show you. I've kind of done this before, but I want to get a little bit more in depth this time and cover a wider array of things, I guess. So, most commonly when you're working with Gundams anyway, the most common thing you're going to come across as far as panel lining tools are these markers here. I wasn't ready entirely, but I hadn't had these out in a while. You're going to come across these Gundam markers. These are made specifically for Gundam kits. They're made to work with Gundam kits, and that's basically it. Now, when I say that, I mean that they're made to work with the plastic. That doesn't mean that you can't use them on a painted surface. You definitely can, but it's not my preferred method of panel lining. Now, panel lining with Gundam marker is pretty simple. It's pretty straightforward. They're available in 3 colors, just like most of your typical panel washes, especially stuff geared for mecha modeling. You're going to get the same 3 colors, but depending on what products you're going with, you might find a wider range of things. So, just for the sake of demonstration, we're going to use the black. And when you panel line with a panel lining marker, it's as simple as putting the marker in the groove, following the groove, tracing it a couple times, and that's basically it. You want to wipe off the excess, and you can see that recessed detail a little better. You don't have to use your thumb. You can use a Q-tip, you can use a tissue, you can use whatever you want. You know, that's entirely up to you. Now, if you want to go a little fancier, there's also these. These are Gundam Real Touch markers. They come in a little bit wider range of colors. You get the black, the gray, and the brown, but there's also a blue-gray, there's blue, there's red, there's brown, there's green, there's yellow, and then there's pink. And you can use these on different colors. So we're going to use the gray one. And we're going to go on the other side. I'm just going to... Now you can tell that this is a little thicker than the one that I was just using. And there's also another side on this one. There's like a brushed marker tip. And it doesn't matter which one you use, just use what you're comfortable with. But these are... I like these more than the regular Gundam markers because they get a little bit more ink all over the place. So it feels more like a wash than using the regular markers. And cleaning these is just the same. We're going to use a Q-tip this time. And you can actually go real lightly with this and create sort of a false pre-shading effect. So that looks really nice. And then from there, that's basically all the regular products you can use. Beyond that, you're going to go into physical washes. Now these are acrylic or enamel paints that are thinned down a bunch. Here's a set of Vallejo inks that I have. I also have Vallejo washes in various colors, white, brown, and then there's a rust color if you want to do rust effects. And then your enamel washes are, well, you can use any kind of enamel you want, but I use the pre-made ones. They're pretty nice. So I'm going to make a cut, I'm going to get set up, and I'll show you how to use washes. Alright, so washes can be bought pre-thinned, and if you use the pre-thinned ones, it's as simple as putting a drop or two in a tray, using a paintbrush, picking up a little bit of the paint, and just touching it to the piece. Sometimes it flows through how it should, sometimes it doesn't. There we go. And it's as simple as that. Now the whitewash looks really good on darker pieces, so blacks, grays, dark blues like this, but you know, sometimes you gotta paint it on, sometimes it just goes through the recesses for you. Haven't been as lucky as you can see with this, but pretty straightforward. It's really easy to use, it's really nice, and it looks good when it's dry. Brown washes kind of work about the same. Inks, however, while they are basically the same, they're way more thinned down, way more concentrated. So you'll probably get better paint flow out of them. And that's like in this little vent thruster here. Should just be able to, let me get a bigger brush. My brushes are acting up today. Well, sometimes they flow better, sometimes they don't. But if you get it quick enough, you can wipe it away. If not, you can clean it up with lighter fluid. You can use, I guess, mineral spirits would work. Stuff like that. And then the last wash we're going to take out, or well, the last acrylic wash we're going to use is the Rust Effects. And these work just like the others. You're going to want to paint them on, but your cleanup's going to be a little different. So basically, you're going to want to get this wash on your brush a little thicker than you normally would. You're going to want to try and dab it into your panel lines, get it where you want it. There's also, this is dark rust, there's also a light rust and a regular rust wash, but you want to get this in there and, you know, in surrounding areas and stuff like that. Clean your brush off as best you can, and then you just kind of want to drag your color around basically. So if you pull it down some, you can get a little bit of some streaking effects, a little bit of weather going on. But the more you cover the part, when it dries, it'll kind of spot up. And I don't really have any examples of pieces that I've used this on. I thought I did. There used to be one up here anyway. I don't know. Tried on this Shiro. Just kind of put it on his chest or whatever. But you can see that it fills in all the recesses and stuff. And when it dries, it kind of tapers off the edges some. then it looks more natural, basically, I guess is the best way to explain it. So you can use washes for weathering. You don't have to use them just to highlight panel lines. You can use them to weather as well. So, I mean, you can see that looks really nice on this color as well. It accents everything properly. It highlights everything. So, but those are acrylic washes. Really easy to use. Really easy to clean up as well. If you can catch it while it's wet, you can just use some water and a brush and get it away, or you can take a cotton toothpick or a Q-tip, sorry, and wipe it away. You can also use, like I said before, you can use lighter fluid. If you're working over a painted surface, lighter fluid works really well because it kind of breaks it down and it doesn't really work, you don't work too hard on it, and it doesn't affect your surface as much. So I picked out a couple pieces here to demonstrate some panel washes. My favorite kind to use are enamels. Like I said, they're the pre-thinned kind. I use the Tamiya ones. If you just search on eBay, or I think Amazon has them too, for the panel line accent color, or Tamiya panel line, or whatever, you can find these. They come in 3 colors. It's gray, brown, and black. And what I'm going to use right now is just the black, because I haven't finished all my white pieces yet. Still got some to go. But I've chosen some pieces that would be nice to demonstrate panel washing on, so you can see what they look like before and after. And I'll even keep, I'll do one and leave the other, so you can compare the two. And I'm going to show you how to use them and how to clean them up. Pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward. It's a really easy process. Like I said before, it just takes time. So, once you've got your wash mixed up properly, it's hard to see with the black, but with like the gray, you can still see the paint at the bottom. So, just try and make sure you've got most of that, mixed up. And this can also cause you some problems if you mix it too much, because then your washes are runny and they don't really stick. So you want to find that good middle ground, and you want to mix it well enough that all the paint's mixed up, but you don't want to mix it, you want to let it settle a little bit before you start using it. So they come with like a little applicator brush built in, and what I do is I take the applicator and I kind of tap the side to see how it flows. If it flows down like I want it to, which you can kind of see that on camera a little bit, and you want most of it to flow off, because if you touch the piece and it's got a ton on it, it's just going to blob all over the place and it's not going to look good. So you literally just touch the piece, and that really didn't show on camera because I'm not doing this right. It will literally flow and fill up all the panel lines for you. You don't really have to do any work. So I'll show you on the yellow piece. I'm going to get this out of the way. I'm just going to touch this corner here, and the whole panel line is filled in. Touch the middle, and it fills in the sides. Touch this, and the panel line fills up. And that's the entirety of the process. So like I said, some kits take longer than others. But you just want to take your time and get it done. So every once in a while you want to make sure to go back and dip the brush back in the thinner, or the thinner, in the paint. That's what I mean when you don't get too much off. It does that. It kind of collects in one area and looks really bad. You know, really easy stuff to do. It takes literally no effort whatsoever until cleanup. And really, the cleanup is no, you know, it's no harder than cleaning up the Gundam marker that most people use. So I'm going to go ahead and do these couple pieces that are left. And I'll come back and we will discuss cleaning them up. So I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, so once you've panel washed everything, you're going to want to get a bunch of Q-tips and some Zippo lighter fluid. I use this kind. It gets the best results from what I've used. And you literally just want to put some on the tip. Kind of get it wet, but don't soak it. I kind of go along with my hobby mat a little bit. And then you just kind of want to very lightly go at the piece. And I like to twist my Q-tip as I go along, so that I don't take like lighter fluid soaked paint and just kind of stain the model with it, because that's just creating more work for yourself. But I use every edge of the Q-tip that I can use. Before moving on to the next edge of the next side of the Q-tip. Depending on how many panel lines there are, depending on how much cleanup there is, depending on how big the piece is, all that stuff. You might use one Q-tip per piece. You might be able to use the same Q-tip for a couple pieces. There's no average or anything like that. It really depends. There's a lot of factors. So don't be afraid to use more than one Q-tip on a part. Just make sure that you get it nice and clean. So you're going to look something like that. Then we're going to go ahead and switch to the other side. And the same thing is going to apply. Just kind of rub off some of the excess before you start going at it. And I might want to reapply the wash on that part. I like the way that it looks now, but I want the wash to be on the yellow as well, like in the middle. But the rest is relatively easy to clean up. And I'm actually going to show you a quick tip on how to kind of dodge raised edges like that if you're going to be doing a wash. So what I'm going to do is reapply this real quick. I'll put that in the middle. Now this is another one of those scenarios where less is more. So you just want to touch less of the piece, or as little of the piece as you can, because that means typically you're going to have less to clean up. And what I'm going to do is take 2 little squares of toilet paper, I'm going to fold it to a really tiny square and a little triangle, and then just basically get something like that. Put lighter fluid on the tip. Again, get rid of the excess, and just very gently go at it. And, well, it's not clean, but I think as far as hitting the recesses, that's about as good as that's going to get. So I'm just going to kind of grab another corner of this, put a little more thinner on it, and just go back and touch it up. And that's just going to be these little yellow areas right here where I couldn't get it all off. So, something like that. And you can compare the two. You can see that one is much nicer looking than the other. You can see all the panel lines, you can see all the details, you can see everything. It looks really nice. And the same goes for the bottom of the foot. The detail is highlighted, it's easier to look at, and you can see everything. So, you repeat this process for all 40 jillion pieces of the kit. We've got all these pieces around here, and then the white pieces that aren't done yet. And then we can move on to decaling. So, I'm going to end this video here, keep it nice and short. Just a quick panel lining tutorial. I didn't go over mixing your own washes. It's really straightforward. You're just going to get a little thing of enamel paint. You can use testers, you can use Model Masters, you can use Humbrol, whatever works best for you. You put just a dot of it, and you want to mix it with a lot of either thinner or lighter fluid, and you want it to be very milky. I believe Jim has a tutorial on this. But you basically do that and then repeat the enamel process that I just did, where you touch spots and wash through and then clean it up with lighter fluid. So I'm going to go ahead and clean the rest of this up, I guess, and then I'll see you guys next time for decals. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Later.